What's up, everybody? This is Scotty from Duffy's Dog Training with Jana Davis, our very high up trainer who's been here longer than I have been. She is exceptional. She also does photography alongside of dog training, but I swear she could do it all because she used to be a teacher as well. But Jana, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I really like doing the podcast. I think it's fun. So one of the things that I talk about in the beginning is you introducing everybody that works here, because last time we had Shayna, before that Eric. I want everybody to be on this. I think it's going to be pretty cool to see, or have like certain people say, well, maybe I should talk to Jana. She seems pretty nice because I saw her on the podcast. And it's funny, did you know, or did Mr. Duffy tell you at all, when Buck went home on Tuesday, the guy who took him, John, he watches the podcast already?
Really?
Yeah.
That's
cool. I
cool.
thought that was really cool because he hasn't even done like training.
No, he hasn't.
Not really. I mean, he's had the first lesson and took Buck home, but already watching it and listening to what I have to say or what somebody else has to say. It's pretty cool to have the podcast because I tell a lot of people about it.
That's good.
Not to just brag about myself, but to really get Duffy's out there, you know what I'm saying? And that is one of the biggest points to us doing the podcast and introducing everybody here is to make us more well-known, But, Jana.
Scotty.
When did you start here?
Oh gosh, you'd ask me that. It's been about 5 years ago. It was right before COVID became a real problem.
Okay.
So like 2019, I think.
So you were here during all the COVID stuff.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question, because Shayna and I actually talked about this with her previous job last time.
Yeah.
Did you guys go out to get dogs from the cars?
What we wound up doing was having them basically come to the front lobby, and we'd meet them in the lobby, swap leashes, and then we would walk the dogs back out to their cars at the end of the day.
Oh, okay.
So, if I'm remembering correctly, it's
So
been
not
5
like
years.
too much of a big difference from now, except we don't walk them to the cars now.
No, and we don't keep their leashes anymore because of COVID. So we used to keep their leashes. They'd just walk in, hand us their dog, and we'd take their leash, attach it to the crate, and then they'd have it when they come to pick their dog up in the evening.
Okay.
But when COVID happened, because we were worried about all the germs, Heidi bought like nylon leashes, and we would swap out the leashes. So I would take the leash and attach to the dog, and then give them theirs back. And at the end of the day, we would wash. Actually, not all at the end of the day. In between dogs, actually, we would wash them, throw them in a bucket of bleach water and stuff. So
keep everything clean.
yes.
And wasn't this building brand new when you started?
I wasn't even here yet when I started.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So you watched it get
I did.
built. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the clients that we see, they are like, well, this building wasn't even here, or that building over there wasn't here. And I'm like, I don't even know when it was built. Because I started, I would assume right after it was built.
Yeah.
Because I started in 2021. Did you guys build it in 2020?
I believe they started it right, like it was already standing, I think, actually, now that I'm thinking back. When I first started here, like none of the insides were finished yet. They were starting to design in the room back here and put in the kennels and that kind of stuff when I kind of first started. So I can't remember. It's been so long. I don't remember if the building was actually standing already or not, but it was in the process of being built when I first started.
That's cool. I think it's funny watching the old videos with Mr. Duffy, and when I say old, like 10 years, they're not that old, but watching those videos and seeing him in this area with no building here, running around with a dog. What about the fence? Do you know when that was put up? Has there always been a fence?
There's always been a fence.
Okay.
Yeah, the yard, ever since I've worked here, the yard's always been fenced in.
Okay. I was wondering that because I feel like maybe in one of those videos I didn't see it. So maybe it wasn't up then.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, that feels like...
That's a Mr. Duffy question.
Well, it's funny, when I started here, I had no idea this place existed. I didn't even know it was back here. When I brought Scout in for his evaluation, I go to a gym that's literally right around the corner. I mean, you take 2 turns and you're there.
Yep.
And had no idea that this existed, and he's been here for over 20 years. That's what blows my mind.
Yeah. It really kind of tucked back into the corner of the industrial complex. So if you don't come back here, you have no idea it's here.
Well, one of the other things that he told me was he was one of the first buildings back here.
Really?
Yeah, compared to like everything that's built around us, which is wild to me because I could imagine it just being completely empty. Like the building across the street that's now there, when I started, wasn't there. It was just an open field.
Kind of miss it being an open field.
Oh, there was space to do stuff with certain dogs. Like that picture that I showed you the other day of us standing in the rain. That's when it was completely empty.
Yeah.
And we were able to go out there and do some tracking with Uhtred's mom, Echo.
Yep.
It was very fun. I love that stuff. I remember Mr. Duffy saying it's not going to rain that bad, but we'll record anyway. And then we were all soaked.
Yep.
But tell me about your photography, because I talk about it all the time. Obviously, I want you to get business, but I also like the pictures that you take, like the one behind your head of Scout. It's crazy how intense I feel like Jana will get with taking the pictures, because you'll roll on the ground, you'll goof off with the dog, take the pictures at the same time. You know what they say about men? We can't multitask. So I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you can take the pictures, focus on, the image itself, the dog, the rope, whatever's in your hand, and still goof off and have a good time.
Thanks, Scotty. Well, I'll be very honest. When I start to take pictures, I kind of get lost in the moment of it happening. I don't really think about anything else that's going on around me. I just kind of hone in on what I'm trying to take a picture of and just watch the light. And when something strikes me as being interesting, I take the picture. Yeah. So to be able to do all the things that I do with the dogs, actually, because I enjoy dogs so much, I find them very interesting, and watching their expressions and their body language cues and those types of things are what kind of perk me into taking the picture. It strike me as being very interesting because you can tell when a dog is interested in something because of the way that their ears stand and then how stiff their shoulders and stuff get all of a sudden.
Right.
So they look really beautiful when they are very interested and perked, and so I don't know. I just think that they're gorgeous animals.
Oh,
they're all so different too. I think that's what also makes me like them so much.
Oh, especially with expressions, like you said, completely different dogs. But I feel like we talked about this earlier in the week. Finley and Scout are almost like two peas in a pod.
Yes, they are.
But their expressions sometimes are completely different. Because, like you said, Scout squaring his shoulders, standing up, his ears perked, he's looking at you at the camera. He looks like a different dog almost.
He does.
Because he's so focused and honed in on you on the other side of there. Juliet, too, when you take pictures of her. But she has more, I feel like she has a little bit more of that curiosity expression kind of thing. Because she tilts her head, she's like, what's going on over there? What's that sound that Jana's making? How can she sound like a duck? Stuff like that. How long have you been doing photography?
Since 2009. I did my first wedding right after I graduated from college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you went straight into photography.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Thanks.
Of course I have a drone, I'll take footage of that, but I see people, flying their drones under waterfalls or taking pictures of waterfalls. I think that's some of the coolest stuff. So, of course, photography would be a very cool thing to get into. It is just expensive.
It is expensive.
And you're telling me about the lens that you were renting last year. It's very expensive. And if it broke, then you'd have to pay for it, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. All that stuff is so expensive. Camera equipment in general, like even the light that we have here is like $350.
Yeah.
Just a light.
Yeah.
It's wild. You did teaching before this. How long did you teach?
Total?
Yeah.
About 9.5 years.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
9.5 years?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like it was going to be 5 or something. Because we have never really went into detail about you teaching. We've been golfing together. We've been hiking together. We've talked all the time. But these are the questions that I haven't asked you.
No, you haven't.
But I feel like other people would want to know these things too.
Yeah. My first teaching job was right out of college. And I taught at a school in Kentucky for 5 years. It was more of like your traditional public school, so pretty much what everybody grows up with was, that was my first experience. It was a lot bigger school than I had ever been a part of. Even the college that I went to was fairly small. I grew up in Charlestown, so when I went to school, there were 120, I think, in my graduating class. And now I think it's more than triple that in Charlestown. It's grown so much. But after those 5 years, I kind of decided if I was going to keep teaching, I didn't want to continue to teach in a traditional environment. I felt a lot of pressure, and it was very stressful, and I didn't handle it well. So I thoroughly enjoyed working with children. I didn't really want to leave the kids. I taught high school math. But I was just kind of overwhelmed and ready for a change at the end of the first 5 years. When I left, photography was still very much a passion for me, and it always has been. I decided to follow my younger brother to West Virginia, and I did whitewater rafting pictures while he was guiding on the river, which was pretty cool. So I did that for one summer, and honestly, of all the jobs I've had, that's probably been my favorite because, literally I sat on the side of the river, read books while I waited for somebody to come down the river to take their picture. It was awesome. So,
and you get paid for that?
I got paid for that. I didn't get paid a lot for that, but I did get paid for that.
Yeah, but that's still cool. Well, that's why Shana said it last week. I don't do the dog training for money. I like doing it. This is
great.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yep.
That's really cool.
After that, you were asking about my teaching, so it was kind of split up. After I spent that summer there, I still wasn't ready to go back to teaching. So I decided to take a job at the hospital taking newborn photos. I did that for almost a year, probably about 9 months. And then it was a commission-based job. So I would go to the hospital and I would work 10 plus hours, and I may or may not have gotten paid that day for all the work that I put in for the photos. Most people bought my pictures, but there were times, either they couldn't afford them or they just decided they were going to have another photographer do their pictures when they got home, so they just didn't buy any of the ones from the hospital. So it was frustrating, but it also was a lot of stress on my body because it was my heavy camera. I was leaning over top of a hospital bed 8 hours a day to take pictures of a baby laying down. And so I decided physically I should try something else. So going back to a teaching career after that, I spent another 4.5 years in a very non-traditional environment. It was more of a Montessori school. I don't know if you're familiar with what that is, but it's very different than your normal schools that we have. Your kids are grouped together by ages of 3 years. So it starts, the one that I taught at started from birth basically. So from birth to 3 years, they had a program for them. And then they had 3 to 6 and 6 to 9 and 9 to 12. And then you got to middle school age, which would be they're 12 to 14, so they did it in 2 years, just because the school that I worked at still had to follow state guidelines for schools and regulations and things. So they had a high school program also for 9th grade to 12th grade. So basically they went from birth all the way through graduation, which was pretty cool. And it's pretty unique because most Montessori schools stop after the age of 12.
Really?
Yep. So.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what age group did you teach then?
When I started in 9 to 12, and after the first year and a half or so, they moved me up because they needed someone to help teach math in the high school program, and I already had a high school math degree, so I moved up there and I taught Algebra 2, and then my main focus was supporting children with IEPs.
Okay.
So,
I don't know if I've ever told you this. but math was my favorite subject.
Yeah.
Do I like it now?
I always liked it because it felt like a puzzle. It's like there's
That's
always
exactly
an
what
answer.
it is. Yes.
You just have to figure out how to get to it, which is what I liked.
When I went and took it was a test to go into college, and I can't remember what it was called. Acuplacer, does that sound right? Something like that. Yep. But I took the math portion, got like a 95, and I was out of school for a year, got a 95 on that, and I was like, that's kind of fun, because it is literally, like you just said, I never thought about it like that, but you're right, it is like a puzzle.
Yep.
That's pretty cool to think about it like that, because like you said, there is an answer, you know.
Yeah.
But
well, until you get to the theoretical stuff, but that's much higher.
Yeah. I remember my best friend going to Cornell, the Ivy League hardcore school, right? And he was telling me about like some of the classes that he was taking. I don't even remember the names because he was telling me, and I was like, "That's like math." And he was like, "Yeah, but you don't want to do it ever in your life." And it's funny, you hear the. Are we ever going to use fractions or percentages in real life? We do it here all the time.
Yep.
I actually, when Elena and I go out, or Auntie and Uncle Bob, they hand me the check and say, how much are we tipping? Because that right there, percentages of something, like finding 10% of 35. Yep. For some reason, that's my favorite thing to do. I don't know what it is. You know? I gave you an easy one, all right? But it is very fun. I thought about teaching at one point, you know.
Yep.
Because I worked at the Boys and Girls Club for so long. I like working with kids. I thought the Boys and Girls Club was great.
Yeah.
I worked there for 3 years, and it was funny. Obviously, I'm 25, almost 26. Goofing off with these kids, I felt like a kid again, you know. Yeah. But I'm also, you know, I have to be a little strict with them, you know, they can't play too rough, be too mean in basketball or dodgeball, stuff like that, right? Yep. But I will say this, it was always fun playing dodgeball with them, because I could throw the ball a little bit faster.
Take out a little bit of that frustration?
No. Sometimes. But, what made you stop teaching like all in general for schools?
I'll be kind of honest here. I get bored, I'm not gonna lie, pretty quickly. So, but when I do the same thing over and over again, I kind of lose interest in it because I don't feel like I'm learning anything new. Mm-hmm. If I'm not learning anything new, it just starts to feel like a chore. Like it's not as much fun anymore.
Right.
And I kind of had reached a point in my photography business where I was feeling like I was either really going to have to jump into my photography business or stick around and choose to be there for the kids. Mm-hmm. So I didn't feel like it was fair to the kids for me to be half-hearted in it. Mm-hmm. So I have always wanted to be a photographer, and I decided if I'm ever going to do it, now's the time to do it. So that is part of the reason why I chose to leave the teaching environment in general, was because I was ready to push for my photography business.
Yeah. I push it all the time. It's funny. I probably talk about it like 5 times a week because
really?
People are always asking about the pictures hanging on the walls.
Oh, nice.
Like the one of Mr. Duffy and his 3 dogs. I know you didn't do that one, no. But then they always ask about the one next to it.
Yeah.
With the 3, what are those dogs?
They're called Border Terriers.
Border Terriers. Now, you've told me 100 times, but I'm never going to remember. But with those 3, that is such a cool picture with all 3 of them. You know, you take a picture, they're all looking at you. That, to me, feels like it should be AI or you put it all together, but it isn't most of the time. You know?
Most of the time it's not, no.
I know what Jules you got to do then.
She didn't even jump in the photo with Santa.
She didn't want to. Angel didn't want to either.
No, but we managed to get Angel.
Yeah.
And Scout.
Angel, little nasty dog. That's my 3rd dog at home. My aunt and uncle's dog. She's an American Eskimo. She does not like strange environments or certain people. She likes Elena.
That's
which
good.
Is good, you know. But she does growl at me every once in a while. It's probably because I taught her the rules. That's how it works. But tell me about these two guys that are sitting on the floor here.
These guys are my babies.
Yes.
Finley over here, he's about 5 years old now. I rescued him from a shelter. Actually, I don't even really know if I would call it a shelter. I found him on adoptapet.com. But he was in, oh gosh, I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm trying to remember the name of the town we went to. It's not Shepherdsville. What was it? It's like Richmond, Kentucky, maybe. Is that out towards Lexington, Winchester, stuff that way? Anyway, it's out that way.
I go the opposite way when it comes to like Owensboro. So I don't know that way that well.
Yeah, but he was about 1.5 years old when I got him. And I have been attached to him ever since. When we first met him, he instantly rolled over in Brian's lap and just wanted him to rub his belly. He was like petting him, and all of a sudden it was in his lap trying to roll over and just like rub my belly.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the presence of both of my other dogs. And my female dog at the time tended to be a little bit reactive to other dogs, and she could care less if he was standing there. So I was like, all right, that's already a win.
Yeah.
I got him in the car, and he immediately put his feet on the armrest and like draped his head over my shoulder and was just like laying his head there and wanted me to pet him. And I'm like, all right, there's another win. And then I got him all the way home, and in my mind, you know, it's like there's still a chance he may not be a good fit. And he got home and he never went back.
Yep. Yeah. I remember when you first brought him in, Mr. Duffy kind of did like that assessment thing. I don't know if the camera's wiggling. His tail's right on it.
Yeah.
But I remember Mr. Duffy, you know, goofing off with him a little bit. But I think we all liked him at that point already. Because he had, his name was Stewie.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, like Family Guy, his name was Stewie. But Finley is such a better fit for him.
Yeah.
I don't think there could be another Finley like him, you know.
Right.
But you had, were you talking about Layla?
Yes.
That's what I figured. And then you took Chewy too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. I like that. What about that wild one? The real crazy one.
So my real crazy one is Dallas. Dallas has energy for days. He's a border collie mixed with a golden doodle. So you can imagine all the energy, I'm sure.
Were they an accident?
Accident, probably.
Okay.
So the mom wasn't fixed, and it was her, I think, third litter she had. And these were like successive litters because the family that had her, to my knowledge, either couldn't afford to get her spayed, or I don't really know much of the backstory, but that's kind of what I was told. They kind of lived in a place where the puppies were going to be at risk for walking out into the street and getting hit, and there was somebody had picked one of them up and kind of thrown him off the porch and kind of had already killed one or two of the puppies. And I think it was a young person who didn't know what they were doing. And anyway, so they the lady who I was helping at the time had a dog from a previous litter. She was turning into a service animal and had told me about these puppies and that she was going to try to take them on to help foster and help them find homes.
I remember that.
And so I said, I had just lost Layla a week before that, and it just kind of felt like I needed something to distract me. And so I decided to take on 2 puppies to foster.
Yeah.
He was one of them.
Yeah.
He and his sister were the highlight of my, let's call it my life for a while there, because I enjoyed every minute of them, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So, but we kind of got really attached to him, and He has a high toy drive. He
does.
loves toys. Actually, when I sit at my desk for hours, I'll turn around and there's probably 10 or 15 toys behind my chair because he wants me to play with them.
Yeah.
I hate it, but I'm busy, so I can't
Right.
stop what I'm doing to play all the time. I do sometimes, but yeah. So they do all sorts of fun tricks. Mostly because I enjoy trick training, and they're very game for it because
She's too good at it.
because they have a high food drive, and I think they like the interaction and the mental stimulation that it provides for them is definitely a positive thing. So
that's what they get. I think with Scout it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I think he likes food. Sometimes he is picky part of the time.
Wait.
But I do like. He likes greeting people. He likes saying hi to people.
Yes, and that's the thing about the difference between their personalities too, is that Dallas tends to, I think, like dogs a little bit more than people. And he likes people, but it wasn't innately that way. It's something that I have kind of built with him over time, because he was a little bit on the defensive side when he was a puppy, a little environmentally sensitive to things.
I remember that too.
Yeah. Like when I would take him for a walk, if somebody left their recycling bin out next to the street, like it was a chore to get him to walk by it because he was afraid of it.
Because it was weird looking. That's what it is.
Yes. And the trash can too at our house, I would roll the trash can in and he would try to dart into the house because he was afraid of it. It took a while, but he finally figured out that the world is not as scary as it seems.
Right.
Yeah. So I forgot where I was going with the rest of that. What'd you ask me before?
Just talk about your dogs.
Oh. Yeah.
What about Finley? How long has he been a therapy dog now? Is it the same time as Scout?
Yes, I think we got our certifications at the same time.
Okay.
So it's been, like 3 years?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Which is, you and I went to Corden High School, and we took them in Oston. I tell everybody this, that is probably one of the best feelings.
Go ahead. I remembered what I was going to say.
No, go ahead.
Why I said it that way. I was going to talk about Finley to talk about the therapy stuff, because Finley he's the one you can watch a whole herd of dogs go play, and he will look at it and then he says, I'd rather sit with people.
Yep.
And he'd come walk over and sit next to you and let you pet him.
That's exactly Scout too.
Yes.
And that's why they have.
Yes.
They're almost identical, I swear. And it's funny, when I house sat for you, they do get along really well.
Do they?
Of course, Dallas wants to play the whole time.
Yes.
Scout and Finley kind of just sit there and watch Jules and Dallas play, you know?
Yes.
Because I did, of course, you have a fenced-in yard, let them run around a little bit. Obviously, they loved it, and they could have done it for hours. I remember sending you the picture of all three of them standing at the door. Was it? I don't think Scout was in that one. Maybe it was.
No, I don't think Scout stayed with you that time.
The second time?
Mm-hmm.
He stayed one of the times.
The first time you had Scout. The second time I think you just had Jules.
No, the second time I had Scout. The first time I didn't.
Because
of Chewy and Layla.
That's right.
I didn't trust Scout. Because Scout, like I've said before, did have an attitude with dogs. He did not like dogs in the beginning. And it's not that he dislikes them now or that he thinks they're the best thing ever. It's kind of like right in that middle area.
Just indifferent to them.
Yeah. And of course, he'll, like we said earlier, puff his shoulders, puff his chest, straighten his shoulders. His hair will stand up when a dog walks up to him. He's just trying to intimidate him for no reason. How many dogs would you say you've had in your life? Do you have a bunch of dogs at like the same time? Because you had 3, and then 3 again, and then I don't think I've seen you with like less than 2.
No, I've always had multiple dogs. From the time I was 10 years old when we got our first dog. She lived to be 18, so she was one of my first set of 3. Because
You're doing it right.
Yeah, she was a German Shepherd Chow mix that my aunt had rescued from kind of the same situation that I did here with my own. And I begged my family for 6 months before they agreed to let us have a dog.
Dang, okay.
I was relentless, if you could tell. I like dogs. But I had her, and I had Chewy and Layla all together, so there's 3. And then she passed away, and then we had Finley. and then from when Layla passed away, we wound up with Dallas. So the most I've ever had at one time is 4 in my house because I had Lily and Dallas with Finley and Chewy.
But that's the life, all right? Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah. A pack of dogs is pretty great.
Yes.
So.
Well, that one day that you took Coda and Izzy for that run, you came back with all 4 of them. Or Mickey with her 4 dogs. It just looks cool. I mean, it looks like it would be a blast. The one thing that, obviously, when I move out, when I do my own thing, I'm going to have another dog. A third dog, probably. All right? The one thing I'm not looking forward to, how much food I'm going to have to buy.
Yeah, they do go through quite a bit of food, and it is quite a lot of cleanup.
Yeah.
Get used to a lot of dog hair.
yeah, I'm already used to that. All right, a husky and a German Shepherd.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot.
That is a lot of dog hair.
But I could get like a doodle.
Good.
Probably won't. I think I might get like a golden retriever when I move out. I love golden retrievers.
I love golden retrievers too.
Like Uma and Astrid. Oh my gosh,
They're
Astrid is the cutest little dog. I feel like her and Uma are complete opposites.
They are.
I love that. And that's how it works too, you know. You'll get one dog and be like, wow, this was the easiest dog I've ever worked with or ever done potty training with. And then the next dog, it's
total nightmare.
Yeah, nightmare. Terrible. Pooping everywhere, peeing everywhere, jumping on stuff, chewing everything. That's Juliet. Juliet, man, I took her to Bass Pro the other day, and as soon as I got back with Buck's lesson, pooped on the floor. As soon as I got back. I took her for multiple walks. Now, the happy thing, I am happy that she didn't poop at Bass Pro because I'm not cleaning that up again. That'd be 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
3 times she's pooped in Bass Pro. She's done it twice already. And both times, same spot. So this time I actually didn't even walk over there again. We just went a different direction. Walked around it.
Maybe it's just something about that spot.
I guess so. Maybe it's like the middle of the concrete floor where it's an intersection kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? You work with a lot of the therapy dogs, service dogs, and competition dogs.
I do.
What would you say you like the most? Because obviously I see you have a ton of fun with Lily and Juniper and Mari when she was here.
Oh, Miss Mari.
And Dickens, even when he was younger. I thought about that the other day. Dickens came to day school for like a year.
He did.
Like once or twice a week.
Actually, it was when he first started. It was daily.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he started coming daily until he was probably close to a year old.
Did you see him as like a little puppy?
Mm-hmm. He
Jealous.
was so cute.
Oh, man.
Now, him as a little puppy, when he came in, I think he was somewhere between 8 and, no, he was more like 10 to 12 weeks old when he first came in.
Yeah.
Which, as a puppy for a Mastiff, he was probably about a little smaller than Dallas.
Yeah.
Not much.
Oh, man, I thought he was so cute.
He was. I wish I had a picture.
He's such a good-looking dog.
He's
now,
really cool.
You know?
Yeah.
I like his color and his hair because is that a recessive trait?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, long hair is not
hair.
a common trait for a Mastiff. It's a recessive gene. So.
We need to put that ribbon in the podcast one of these days because it is a ribbon that John Parker won. What was it? 2 years ago? Maybe 3. It's been a while, which is crazy. But he won like first place in the U.S. for.
I think it was obedience trials for Mastiffs.
Yeah. Which is unbelievable. That's a dog that comes here.
Yeah, he's so fun to watch too with John.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
When you get to see him start to do their stuff here in the lessons, because that's the only time I've ever really gotten to watch him work him is when he's here working on things. But watching that 200-pound dog swing his butt around and land at heel is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to him the other day, and of course, this is the worst part of our job. I mean, Mari was a dog that passed away. Waylon passed away. Dickens is turning 5 this year.
Oh my gosh.
Blows my mind. But I was talking to John about it the other day because I was like, I noticed a little bit of gray on him, and I was like, that's so sad to me.
It is.
But I bet he's still going to move like that when he's 7, you know.
I hope so.
he just seems so athletic. You
He
know?
seems young for a Mastiff.
Yeah.
And for a Mastiff, that's already half their life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most of them, if you make it to 10, you did a good job raising
Right.
a Mastiff.
Yeah.
So it makes me very sad that their lives aren't as long as the other dogs.
I know.
Because he's such a special dog.
He is. I remember the first time I ever saw him, I walked up front, and it was one of the mornings that I was backing up for, like, to get like a foot in the door to know how to back up with you and Kat, okay? And Kat came up front. You were doing something in the back, and then I think you did walk up, but she told me, she said, Scotty, go ahead and grab that dog. Dickens was probably, 160 pounds already. I'm like, are you sure you want me to grab that dog? I was nervous because he was a big dog and I didn't know him.
Right.
But of course you and Kat did, and I was, I was totally fine, but it was nerve-wracking in the moment.
Yes.
What about the service dogs? You said you love working with kids, and I'll tell you one thing that I notice all the time in your lessons. You have a blast teaching. You taught school, you teach lessons. One thing I notice a lot is that you love teaching, but you also just seem happy the whole time. That is, to me, well, even like you getting excited with the dogs, getting pumped up. I tell people all the time that's the hardest thing for me, and you know that. You know that.
I do know that.
It is the worst thing. I'm so bad at it, but I'm getting better. I'm getting there. Even though it's taken 4 years of me working here. I like to see you work with like River and Spot.
Oh.
Little girl.
I love them.
Oh, man. I was going to say, with you teaching kids, I guarantee that was probably one of the most fun things about doing service dog stuff like that.
So I thoroughly enjoy kids and I thoroughly enjoy dogs, and I think it's for the same reason.
Yeah.
You never know what they're going to say or do, and just their look on life is usually innocent. Like, there's just something about it that I get drawn into when I interact with them. And it's very easy, just like I said with my camera, for me to get completely lost in the moment when I am working with, like with River and her dog Spot, or with Dallas and Finley, or the dog that I'm working with right now, Alex. It's so easy for me to get totally engrossed in what I'm doing with them, and it's like the whole world disappears. And I think that's part of the reason why I love it so much.
Right. I feel like some of the most gratifying things is like with Alex and her owner, Spot. These dogs are actually making a difference in these people's lives. You know? Like Mr. Duffy said, did you hear what he said about Buck's owner? Like his face on the camera as we're walking up to him.
No, I didn't hear.
Smile from ear to ear.
Really?
And it was funny. I figured Buck would be like, we've had a couple dogs recently that have been a little hesitant walking up to a new person.
Yeah.
It's almost like Buck knew.
Yeah.
Buck ran right up to him and he was wiggle butting in his lap. It was the cutest thing ever. Okay. But this guy, who's a tough dude who's in the military, having a huge smile on his face, and his face is getting red because he's excited for this dog that's about to, be his best friend for the rest of his life. That's wicked. I love that. And then River and Spot, that is, to me, that's one of the most exciting things. What would I call that? Gratitude. What is the word? It pumps me up. I like it. I'm glad,
Yeah.
But what made you, did you want to work with service dogs when you started here? Or like therapy dogs, service dogs, the competition dogs?
I'll be honest. I just wanted to work with dogs, and in any facet I could get my hands on is what I wanted to be a part of, which is part of the reason why I think I do the competition dogs too, because I think Mr. Duffy sees that I have an interest in just all parts of dog training.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I think this one fits you, I guess. So
Well, Dallas could be a darn good competition dog.
he could. I think his biggest downfall would be the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and especially now that I know that he's susceptible to have seizures, and once he has one, it takes a few days. the first time it happened, it was almost a couple of weeks, it felt like, for him to truly recover from that. In his most recent one, I'm still noticing, because it was just a couple days ago, but I'm still noticing like little things here and there. Like before, he would no problem run up and turn off the lights and close the door in our bedroom at night when I'd go lay down. Yesterday, the day before, it was almost like I had to push him off the bed to get him to go in that direction. It was like something in his brain, and he's like, "Oh no, I can't leave you." I'm not sure what caused it, but so when that happens, you just kind of take a step or two back and go with him and start the process over again, and he's been doing well again. So
he was in a good mood the day after.
Yeah.
I want to play with Jules and Scout, which is always cute. I swear, him and Jules could run around for hours.
Yeah.
What about service dogs, therapy dogs, competition dogs? I will tell you this. This is what I thought of, actually. I think that's the best part about working here is we can not expand our horizons, but we can work with any kind of dog. I think that's the best part of working here. You know, Grant does everything and then some protection. We do everything. You do some competition. I do everything. I do some service dogs, therapy dogs, whatever. You know, there's a poodle that just came in, and I think Grant just had her lesson. Super good looking poodle, and she wants to do rally with her.
Oh, cool.
I'm so pumped up about that. I think that's exciting because it is competition, it's obedience. And with any dog, especially, this is what I figured out with Scout. When I took him to competitive edge for the first time, I didn't say anything about like me working here at all.
Yeah.
I was talking about how he knew everything.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't believe me. And then I went through everything and I had so much fun. And he had fun doing it. And I figured something out some of those days that I went over there. He could care less about food when it comes to that stuff.
Really?
A squeaky toy or ball, that's his jam.
Nice.
That's it. And no joke, what we did, we went over to Cane's.
Yeah.
Got some chicken tenders. Took it back over there, ate, and then we walked in. He could care less about a chicken tender that I shredded up, put in my pocket or my tree pouch. Could care less about that. But when I pulled out the ball, he was ready for it. It's weird to me, but he loves it. Because I mean, if somebody offers me a chicken tender, I'll probably take it. But
makes two of us.
man, have you had Cane's?
Yes.
Listen, the chicken itself, pretty good.
Yeah.
But with the sauce,
Oh.
even better.
Oh yeah. Good stuff.
Jana, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything else that you thought of as we've been talking? Because there could have been something that popped in your head that you were like, you know what? Let's think about this.
I guess I could talk a little bit about some of the photography projects I've done in the last year or so.
I bet you say projects. Do they feel like projects to you? Or are they fun?
They're definitely fun, and I use the word project mostly because it's not just a single photo session that I'm doing, so it's like multiple things all together
like
that
with
I'm.
Juliet and Poe.
Yep. And Joe. I made this dog Joe.
You were doing it with her.
Yeah.
Is she? What did she just turn a year?
She turned a year in February, I believe.
Oh dang. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm still working on finishing up these projects. That's why I call them projects, because they're very large, time-consuming things that I'm doing at the moment.
Right.
But they have been a lot of fun, and I think I'm almost completely finished with Pose. I have the composite finished now of his growth.
Mm-hmm.
So from the first photo that I took of him at 14 weeks and all the way up to a year, the difference as he grows, it's most obvious in his ears and his tail, because as his fur got longer, less puppy-like, his tail got very long and flowy. He had the hairs behind his ears got longer.
Yeah.
It's just adorable. But it's been a lot of fun doing those. And I have also done a couple other things. I did a couple of challenge courses. So I've done 3 or 4 of those now.
Mm-hmm.
I did a workshop in New Zealand, which was a lot of fun. That was the coolest thing I think I've ever done.
Jealous. I think of the Lord of the Rings Hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
Jealous.
It's so pretty over there. If you ever get a chance to go to New Zealand, you need to go to New Zealand. It's definitely like a 16-hour plane flight, but totally worth it.
Yeah.
And if you can spring for the seats where they lay all the way back so you can lay down on your 16-hour plane flight, even better. I did not do that, but I would recommend it.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun.
Whether it's like a bed or something, you know?
Yeah.
Would be cool.
Yeah. I've also started entering some of my photography into the International Pet Photography Awards. So, and I've done it now for 2 years, and all of my photos that I've submitted have reached a professional standard or higher. So, the highest one I did was 2 years ago, and I got a score of like 94 out of 100, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it made it into their slideshow of videos of like the top 100 photos from the stuff. So I was like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Because that's what you did with the 2 Dalmatians, right?
That was the Embark challenge, Embark, Emerge, and Empower challenges.
Okay.
Done with the Unleashed Education.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was.
It would be really cool if you could get all 4 of the Dalmatians together.
No, that would be awesome.
I can't remember the newest one's names. Man in Venom.
Akasha and Lily.
Yes. Yeah. All 4 of them would be really cool.
Yeah.
I know you and I talk about Tacoma FD a lot. It's a great show.
It's noise.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's noise. But the Dalmatian in that, I can't remember his name. Hoser.
Yeah.
That's what they call him. Because it's a fire department and they have to have a Dalmatian. Dalmatians are pretty cool dogs.
Yeah.
But you did, was it a black and white photo shoot? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's really cool. I
Yeah.
feel like it was literally the perfect dog for that kind of thing.
Yes, it is. They're a black and white dog for a black and white photo challenge.
Yeah. I feel like you say your projects, you like doing them. I feel like that is like gratifying. That's the word that I was looking for. Wow. Gratifying when you're done, because that would be like such a. When I get Juliet's back, like I told you, the one big photo of her literally growing around the tunnel outside. I'm gonna put that on the wall. It's gonna be one of my favorite pictures. I wish I would have started here sooner because we could have done that with Scout. But
oh, that would have been so cool.
He was so stinking cute as a puppy,
He
and it would have been cool to see that progression because his color.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah, and and it's rare for this to happen. Do you know you've seen it? He's got red on his hair. For being almost completely gray, he's got a little bit of red when he's in the sun, and it's really cool. But we got to do another photo session with him too.
Okay.
I love that dog. I need more pictures of him, especially ones like that. But
I wish I had some of, like I had mentioned, some of the more recent photos that I've taken up because the progression of my work is pretty cool.
Well, the one with all the ones with Occam, you know what they remind me of? Like you flip a book over and you see the picture of the author. That's what that reminds me of right there. You know? Those pictures are so good. And those are like pictures you just took for the heck of it, right?
Yeah. I just happened to have my camera one day after work, and the way the sunlight was coming through the window, because this is where Occam always used to lay. This is in the door frame of the office up front.
Right,
he was laying there, and I was like, oh, the light just made him look so cool. So I popped on the floor and took a picture of him.
That's too cool. I feel like any dog that comes here and they do training, they end up being photogenic because they know, I can sit for a second, or I can pose for this because I've done it enough. But Jana, thank you for talking today.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in for the podcast. Thank you for the smoothie. It's a great smoothie. But if you ever want to be on again, just ask. We'll have multiple people. I might actually try to get you in here with Alex and her owner Kyle and see if we can. It is Kyle. I'm always getting their names backwards. But both of them, see if we can get them in, and then maybe you can sit in on that and we can all talk and stuff like that.
Sure.
Because that, to me, that's what I'm super excited for after, everybody meets you guys, everybody that works here. Because for the next month and a half, next week, we're going to have the man and the legend, Mr. Duffy, on here.
Oh, nice.
In the 4 years, I'm going to joke about this next week too. In the 4 years that I've worked here, I hear some people call him Matt. Yeah, can't do that.
I can't either.
Weird. It's just
It's Mr. Duffy and
yeah,
nothing else.
it's always going to be that. Even if he gives me permission and he says, you can call me Matt. No, I can't. That's impossible. It's just not in my vocabulary. I don't know that name. But he'll be on here, and then the next month after that, it's 5 weekends straight where it's going to be more people from here. Because I want to have Amanda on. Maybe see if I can get Dwight to come with her, because that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, everybody, thanks for watching. We're still going to continue every week. We're going to post a video of us talking about certain people, certain dogs, things that we do. And it's just going to get more interesting because you're going to meet a lot more people, and we're going to talk about certain things that the dogs do for them, or any kind of training that we're going to go over in the future.